In a small village nestled under the watchful eye of the mountains lived a master toy maker named Geppetto. His shop was a wonderland of cheerful wooden creations, yet his own heart was quiet and lonely. More than anything, he wished for a son to share his stories with, to hear laughter echo off the workshop walls, and to fill the small, empty chair he had carved years ago. One evening, using a special log of pine he'd saved from a starlit forest, Geppetto poured all his hopes and dreams into his work. He carved nimble joints, a cheerful smile, and eyes full of curiosity. He named him Pinocchio, and as he finished the last detail, he whispered to the stars, "May you have a heart full of life." That night, a wish whispered on a star was heard. The blue fairy descended, her light filling the room with magic. With a touch of her wand, she bestowed the gift of life. "Little puppet," she said softly, "prove yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish, and someday you shall be a real boy." When Geppetto saw his creation move, his world was forever changed. Pinocchio loved his father dearly, but the world outside the workshop was confusing. He heard the other children speak of strength, of being brave, of what it meant to be a real boy. He looked at his wooden limbs and felt a pang of doubt. Could a puppet, made of pine and paint, ever truly be strong? Into the stout rolled the traveling carnival of the magnificent Stromboli. Posters bloomed across the town, promising spectacles beyond imagination. For Pinocchio, it was more than a show. It was a promise. Become a star. The poster seemed to shout at him, "This is how you prove you are more than just a toy." With a heavy heart, Pinocchio made a choice. He believed that if he could become a famous hero at the carnival, he could return to his father as a son Geppetto could truly be proud of. He cast one last look at his loving home and ran toward the glittering lights, unaware of the trap he was walking into. The ringmaster, Stromboli, greeted Pinocchio with a booming laugh and a shower of compliments. "A puppet with no strings," he bellowed. "You are not just a wonder, my boy. You are a miracle. Together, we will show the world what true talent is. You will be my star," and a star he became. Night after night, Pinocchio danced and delighted the crowds. The applause was like music, and for the first time, he felt important, admired, and strong. He forgot his worries and the little voice that whispered of home, lost in the intoxicating glow of the spotlight. But when the curtains fell, the warmth of the lights vanished. Stromboli's smile disappeared, replaced by the cold clank of a lock. "You are my little gold mine," the ringmaster sneered, locking Pinocchio in a cage. "You will make me rich." Pinocchio suddenly realized his stage was now a prison. He was not alone in his misery. Through the bars, he saw the other wonders of the carnival: a griffin whose wings were too short to fly, a talking fox who had lost his voice from sadness. They were not performers, they were prisoners, their magic and spirits slowly being drained by Stromboli's greed. Meanwhile, a frantic Geppetto searched day and night. He followed every rumor, every whisper of a traveling show with a magical puppet. Though his heart ached with fear and his old bones grew weary, his love for his son was a fire that could not be extinguished. He would not give up. Trapped and desperate, Pinocchio knew he had to do something, not just for himself, but for his new friends. He looked at the heavy lock on his cage, far out of reach, and then he thought of the blue fairy's words. He realized his curse could be a key. A daring and rather long plan began to form in his mind. The next morning, when Stromboli came to gloat, Pinocchio began his plan. "You know," Pinocchio said with a false confidence, "my father is a giant, and he has a key that can unlock any cage in the world." As the lie left his lips, his nose began to grow. Stromboli, intrigued, urged him on. "Oh, really?" Pinocchio continued. "And this key is made of pure gold, and it sings." With every fantastic lie, his nose stretched further, a wooden bridge extending through the darkness. He wasn't just lying, he was building a path to freedom. Ignoring Stromboli's greedy cackles, Pinocchio focused. He aimed the tip of his ever-growing nose into the lock of the griffin's cage. With a mighty twist of his head, the wooden nose turned like a key, and the latch sprang open. Freedom was just a lie away. "Now the truth," Pinocchio whispered, his voice clear and honest. "My father is just a toy maker. He is not a giant. He is just the kindest man in the world, and I miss him." Instantly, his nose began to shrink, retracting with surprising speed. The freed griffin let out a triumphant shriek, and the carnival backstage erupted into chaos. The other creatures, freed by the clever fox, joined the pandemonium. In the confusion, Pinocchio slipped out of his cage. The grand carnival of Stromboli was coming to a spectacular and very messy end. Drawn by the commotion, Geppetto stumbled upon the scene just as a small wooden figure ran from the chaos. "Father!" Pinocchio cried. Geppetto dropped his lantern and caught his son in a desperate, loving embrace. The hero's welcome Pinocchio had dreamed of was nothing compared to this. As they held each other, the soft light of the blue fairy surrounded them. "Pinocchio," she smiled, "you lied, but you did so to save others. You were brave when it was hard, truthful when it mattered most, and unselfish in your heart. You have proven yourself worthy." And in that moment, the wood gave way to flesh, and the puppet became a son. Pinocchio learned that being real wasn't about being strong or famous. It was about the courage to be kind, the bravery to be honest, and the love that guides you home. And hand in hand, the toy maker and his real, living boy walked into the morning sun. Thanks for your listening and have a good night's sleep. Subscribe for more storytelling.